What up, this is my wrestling thoughts for this Monday, January 5th, 2009. But before I get into my wrestling-related news topics that I want to discuss, I want to just shout out some YouTube users that I definitely think some of you should check out. If you definitely like their material, definitely subscribe to them. And what I did here, these are pretty much people I think that are very underrated. And what I mean by that, I didn't want to tell you to sub to people that have, 1,000, 2,000 subscribers or anything like that. I felt I only wanted to, plug people that had, 500 or less subscribers, and everyone in this list does, and definitely people I should say you should check out and definitely subscribe. First two are probably some people that a good amount of you know. The first one is Gilbert Blaze, definitely makes some good videos, definitely check him out. Next one is a duo, Pro Wrestling U, definitely they make some good videos, check them out. Those two are probably the most known out of this list that people will know. The next one is Radius 2X. Definitely he does some good videos. He's maybe not serious all the time, but he does a good mix of comedy in his videos, and definitely good entertainment from him pretty much all the time. Next one is A-Stone 08. Probably some of you, a good portion of you know who he is. Next one is probably him, and the one after him is probably the most underrated shooters on this list, and that's first one is KC Legendary. He's a fan of a lot of old school wrestling like AWA, Jim Crockett, World Class, and that portion in that era of wrestling. He obviously discusses, this era of wrestling as well. Definitely does some good videos. The next one is probably the one I would say that definitely is probably the most underrated, or a guy I think you need to check out the most, and that's Coffee Ninja B8. He does videos on a very frequent basis, does a lot of good videos, talks pretty much, a lot of wrestling thoughts he gives out, reviews and stuff like that. Next one is Tap Out King 92260. Some of you might remember him from the UFC Hardcore account. And the last one on this list I want to definitely tell you to check out is Spearmaster, and he's the guy that does thoughts on wrestling, politics, hip hop. So definitely, if you want to see a good mix of good content like him talking about hip hop, politics, and wrestling on some basis as well, definitely I'll say definitely you check him out. He makes some good videos. So definitely, like I said, check out all those people. Check them out. See if you like them, and if you do like their content, definitely subscribe to them. And that's what I just wanted to do before I got into my wrestling thoughts. Just wanted to give a shout out to some of them for you to check out and subscribe to them. Now into my wrestling thoughts, and actually before I get into my wrestling thoughts, this is going to be kind of random. And definitely as far as this past weekend in the NFL, definitely a lot of my teams had not the best of luck this past weekend. Obviously, before the playoffs, the Cowboys didn't get in, so they're a team I like. They're not my favorite team, but I do like them. My favorite team in the NFL had to lose on Saturday to the Chargers. I don't hate the Chargers, but I pretty much only like the Chargers, somewhat like them a little because of LaDainian Thompson. As far as the team, I'm not a fan of, but definitely got to give a lot of respect to Phillip Rivers. Definitely he's done a whole lot better with that team than I expected him to. Fortunately, with the overtime period between that game, a lot of bad moves from the defense as far as a lot of flags and stuff like that. And hopefully the Colts do better next year. They had a good year they had a good season this year. Definitely a good stretch at the end where they won 9 straight games, and they just had to lose this game because of a lot of boneheaded and dumbass mistakes at the end of the game. Then Falcons had to lose to the Cardinals, which kind of expected to see happen, but I was hoping that maybe you'll have like the underdog of the Falcons, especially the Rookie of the Year, Matt Ryan, which definitely didn't expect this team to have the turnaround that they had. I expected them to not be a good team, or at least a contender, or even show up in the playoffs until 3 to 5 years. I thought it was going to take that long for their rebuilding process. Thankfully, the Eagles did win, so at least one team I like actually still stayed in it. I do like the Giants. As far as the team that I'm probably, as far as what teams are left who I'm hoping wins, probably I wouldn't mind seeing the Giants repeat. Definitely I like Eli Manning. Obviously, not as much as his brother Peyton Manning, which the Colts are my favorite team, but definitely looks like could possibly still be a good playoffs. Unfortunately, teams I like as the Falcons and the Colts, which Falcons are probably my favorite team in the NFC, and definitely my favorite team in the NFL overall, the Colts. So definitely a bad weekend for them in the NFL. Thankfully, last night the Duke defeated Virginia Tech, which pretty much thought it was going to happen, but if anyone knows the history between those two teams, Virginia Tech does upset them a lot, so I was worrying that they possibly could have lost. Thank God Duke did defeat them, and Duke looks like they'll possibly maybe go on to being winning the national championship. Definitely, I think they'll be contenders for it, at least definitely going maybe as far as the Final Four. But now back into the wrestling. I know that's the main thing that you view in this video for. And first off is obviously the biggest news topic in wrestling right now, and that's the U.S. government's involving back with pro wrestling as far as the steroids go, and the whole steroids investigation and all that. It seems like the government's trying to get back into that, having more of an investigation on that. And as far as right now, the reports that the government or the news reports that we have in here, it seems like there has been, as far as WWE, as far as how many wrestlers in WWE have failed drug tests, it's up to the level of 40% of wrestlers in WWE have failed wellness policy tests, whether it's for anabolic steroids or other drugs as well. TNA, I knew that they wouldn't be as high as WWE as far as the percentage of wrestlers, still 25%. Kind of expected that, especially since you got a lot of former WCW stars, WWE, and WWF stars in that company. And I would say those are pretty much the ones that probably have felt it. As far as the percentage in TNA, probably felt that actually homegrown talent are probably very low. I would highly doubt that more than 5% of the actually homegrown talent is actually on something as far as steroids. Maybe, marijuana, but, a lot of companies really don't take that into a huge issue as far as the wellness policy. WWE's trying to act like they are, but they really don't care. As far as the government getting involved into this, obviously it's probably not going to lead to anything, especially due to the fact that wrestling is not really considered a sport. It's sports entertainment. So since it's not actually a real sport like the Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, and those types of sports, obviously they can kind of get away with a lot more. Especially another thing is a lot of these performers that are on steroids or something similar to steroids, most of them use HGH, which pretty much is undetected in a lot of these tests. And even if they are detected in tests, they are very unlikely to get detected in these tests at all. And when there are tests to be able to see if someone's using HGH, but they're not really that effective. So they're not really a lot of people that do these drug testing things are not really worried about throwing out the more money for that for HGH testing, since it's not really that effective at all. And that's pretty much the loophole that a lot of wrestlers and obviously other performers in other sports kind of use to get around the whole anabolic steroids issue. And this is probably not going to lead to anything, but definitely a topic that's worthy of discussing, since obviously it's going to get a lot of press, either obviously on mainstream media as well. Next thing I want to discuss is the New Japan show, Wrestle Kingdom 3. Now, I haven't seen the show yet. The only match I have seen at this point that was on the show was the Motor City Machine Guns match versus No Limit. But the thing I want to discuss about this, you saw a lot of big things that happened on this show. Obviously, you had talent from TNA. You had Mystico from CMLL. You had talent from Pro Wrestling Noah, New Japan, as far in All Japan. I think you had maybe one or two of them. And talent from 0-1 as well. So you pretty much had every kind of organization that's not WWE or Ring of Honor in this company, and definitely that's a big thing to see, and definitely a lot of major things that happen on this show. First, you saw Team 3D. You saw them win the IWGP World Tag Team titles. You saw the Motor City Machine Guns defeat No Limit for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, tag team titles. You saw Tiger Mask defeat Low-Ki for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. And the topper of that you saw, which pretty much this was probably a thing that I already knew that was probably going to happen, and you saw Tanahashi defeat Keiji Muta for the IWGP Heavyweight title, which definitely is a good thing there. I'm a huge Tanahashi fan, so definitely can't wait to see the show, and probably I might do a review of this show sometime later this week, because I will definitely be probably catching it sometime by the end of the week, and probably will hit you with a review of the show, because it definitely sounded like a lot of great stuff on this show. So after I see the show, I definitely will most likely be doing a review of that. Next thing is Bobby Lashley has been talking about a potential return to pro wrestling sometime in the future. Obviously, if the MMA thing doesn't work out to the level that he wants it to do, he might possibly get a role in UFC, might get a job there, might at least have a fight against Brock Lesnar. That'd be something interesting to see. Two former pro wrestlers, and obviously with their NCAA past as far as wrestling goes, definitely be kind of interesting to see if that would ever happen. And definitely will not shock me. As far as Bobby Lashley did mention this in an interview, he said possibly WWE didn't want him back. He definitely would be interested in going into TNA. So will not shock me that by the middle of the year, sometime by the fall, that Bobby Lashley does show up in TNA, especially after you're losing Christian Cage, most likely going back to WWE. And Kurt Angle's contract ends in September, and it's looking at least 60 to 70% chance that he might go back to WWE. You're going to have to kind of get some name talent to at least fill the void of those two talents leaving. Not saying Bobby Lashley's a big name, but he's at least a known name, a name that WWE casual fans will at least remember, or remember who he is for. WWE did kind of push him pretty heavily. He was involved in that thing with Donald Trump, and he had a big match with John Cena, and he was getting pushed for a little while on the ECW brand as ECW champion. So he is a memorable name that casual fans will remember him for, and it will not surprise me if TNA would pick him up at some point or another. I'm kind of shocked that he hasn't came to TNA at this point yet. And then the next thing is kind of two topics discussing Christian Cage. And obviously already discussed that Christian Cage is most likely already guaranteed to be coming to WWE. It looks like it's 100% guaranteed. It's not a complete deal yet, but definitely furthering that he's probably definitely signing with WWE. And you might possibly see some involvement with him at the Royal Rumble. Now, at this point, they got a storyline that possibly might get inserted into this Friday's SmackDown, which this Friday's SmackDown has already been taped. But this is going to be an angle that they're going to insert into this Friday SmackDown, and it's going to involve Christian Cage. Now, obviously, we heard the stuff with Christian Cage being the guy that's most likely going to be the guy to be revealed that attacked Jeff Hardy at the Survivor Series pay-per-view, but now they're going to escalate it even more, which in this angle they're going to go with that they're going to insert this on this Friday SmackDown, or most likely going to insert it, and it's going to be an angle where it's going to be something involving Jeff Hardy and his girlfriend are going to get in some kind of car accident, and it's going to be later revealed Christian Cage did that as well. Now, as far as this is going to be leading to after this, Jeff Hardy's going to be revealed that he's completely recovered, and then in the storyline wise, they're going to have it be that his girlfriend got seriously injured in the accident, and they're going to play it off. Jeff Hardy wants to get revenge on this. Not only did he Christian Cage, attack him at Survivor Series, cost him his world title there, then did this to his girlfriend. Then you'll see possibly what they got planned right now is Christian Cage getting involved in the Edge versus Jeff Hardy match at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, where he costs Jeff Hardy the title, and then them two have a singles match at the WrestleMania pay-per-view, and then you have Edge versus Triple H at WrestleMania, which probably to no one's surprise, or at least what I'm expecting, if they go the route of Triple H and Edge. Even though Triple H does have a pretty bad record as far as world title matches at WrestleMania, since he hasn't won a world title match at WrestleMania since WrestleMania 19 back then. So he has a pretty poor record as far as title matches, but as far as Edge and him, it will not shock me if Triple H is the one to defeat him at WrestleMania. That's what they go this route. That's what they got planned right now. As far as all this, plans always change very quickly. They possibly all might have already changed it by now, but definitely would be interesting, and I would like to see the Jeff Hardy and Christian Cage feud. Edge and Triple H would be a good match, just wouldn't like the outcome of Triple H winning at WrestleMania, but he hasn't won at WrestleMania in a long time, so I guess I could somewhat overlook that. At least he hasn't, but he's been involved in so many world title matches at WrestleMania that it's starting to get, okay, he's in the world title match. I guess this time they'll actually let him finally win it. Then as far as another WWE topic, and I already reported this on before that I talked about this in the show WWE Superstars, which aired back in the 90s, which was pretty much a show to showcase, up-and-coming talent that wasn't signed to WWE, or showcasing some, big star versus pretty much a jobber match. That's what the show was pretty much like. So they're going to bring this show back. And it looks like right now possibly might come back as soon in 2009 as April after WrestleMania. It's going to be on the WG Network, and it's going to be airing on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is going to replay later that same night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, then have replays on midday Saturday on the WG Network as well. So now it's looking like, you're going to have WWE Superstars on Thursday. Then it's pretty much going to be an hour show. At least I'm pretty sure it's going to be an hour show. I highly doubt it's going to be a 2-hour show. Then at 9 o'clock, you got Impact. So then you have 3 hours of wrestling on Thursday nights, and you got SmackDown the following night, then you got ECW, and you got Raw. So another hour of wrestling that you have to watch. Now, I don't watch all of these shows anyway, so it's really not going to affect me that much, but definitely another hour of wrestling that, WWE wants you to watch, and I'll definitely check it out for the first couple episodes, see how it is. Hopefully it'll be at least a little interesting. And then lastly, to some Ring of Honor subjects, and the first one that I want to discuss is right now Ring of Honor is having 2 sales on their website at ROHWrestling.com. First one's a very good sell, and definitely if you're a new fan to Ring of Honor, definitely it's a very good sell for you. They got a sell on all their 2005 DVDs, every single one, and they're only $8 each. It's definitely a good deal there. And then another thing, well, if you live in any of the areas for any of the upcoming shows from January to the Boston show in May, they got $10 off on all reserved seatings for those shows. So definitely that's a very good deal for those. If you haven't picked your tickets up for any of those shows, that's if you live in any of those areas. Definitely 2 very good deals there. Then the next thing in Ring of Honor is obviously coming on January 16th. We got the ROH Rising Above pay-per-view, which definitely looks like it's going to be very good. You got Aries and Jacobs in an I Quit match. You got Danielson and McGuinness in a world title match. And overall, the other good thing is that on this pay-per-view was the first show as far as the pay-per-views that they upgraded their production. They had a production crew here, so definitely it's going to be better production values than a normal pay-per-view. And even speaking of better production values, starting at the Final Battle 2008 show, from that show up until the shows coming up, you're going to see better production value leading into 2009. They actually went out their way, finally purchased new cameras, definitely better, better production quality that you're to see in 2009. So definitely a good step for Ring of Honor. It's definitely a step they needed to take if they want to go to the next level as far as TV. And speaking of TV, obviously you already heard in the past the rumors of the G4 network or the Versus network, and then possibly wanting ROH on there, or Ring of Honor trying to get on those networks. Now, as far as right now, it seems like another network has came in to possibly be a little interested, or at least giving ROH a try to see if they want to get them on TV, and that's the HD Net channel, which I think will be a terrible decision for Ring of Honor if they get on this. Now, I'll be glad Ring of Honor get a TV deal, but this will be a bad network decision for them to want to get on this network due to the fact that, as far as people that have HD TVs, HD cable and all that, all HD, the percentage is very low, so I think it would be better for them to possibly get a syndication deal than getting on HD Net, especially in this day and age that not everyone is upgraded to having HD TVs or anything like that, so definitely a lot of people will not be able to see it due to that. Now, if it was a channel that obviously had, an HD channel, then a regular digital channel, then it would be okay if they would have went to do that. But definitely, I don't think it'd be a good decision for them to get on. It'd be good for them to get a TV deal, but I think this would be not a good decision for them to take, at least in my opinion. Then, as far as, let me see if there's anything else I want to discuss. Obviously, I already talked about the better production values. And obviously, this Sunday, we got TNA's Genesis pay-per-view, which overall, card-wise, doesn't look that good. Now, I'm definitely interested in the Alex Shelley versus Chris Sabin X Division title match, which should be very great, and mainly the match I'm looking forward to, and going to check the pay-per-view out for, mainly due to that reasoning for that match. And hopefully it's a pay-per-view that's going to deliver, or at least be better than what I'm expecting, because TNA didn't have a good way to end 2008. Hopefully this pay-per-view delivers over my expectation, that actually delivers a good pay-per-view. Hopefully, card-wise, it doesn't look like it will, but hopefully I'm wrong. Then obviously later on in the month we got WWE's Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which already is looking like it's going to be pretty good. Obviously you got the Royal Rumble match, which is obviously the main selling point of the pay-per-view, and the match that I think everyone loves. And the Rumble match is probably one of the my favorite matches that WWE does, and definitely one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year from WWE. Then you got John Cena versus JBL, which hopefully within this being on a major pay-per-view and a title match as well, hopefully it delivers. Hopefully it's better than what I'm expecting. Then we got Edge versus Jeff Hardy, which should be incredible. Then you got Beth Phoenix versus Melina, so you finally got a good women's title match. Hopefully they'll give them at least 10 minutes in the ring to perform some good stuff. So right now it's looking like the Rumble could possibly be a overall good pay-per-view. And like I said, you got TNA's pay-per-view this Sunday. Then on Friday, January 16th, you got Ring of Honor's Rising Above pay-per-view. And not only that, you got UFC pay-per-view as well this month, and you got the Affliction pay-per-view. So pretty much a stacked month for pay-per-views. Every single company is doing pay-per-views this month. Obviously, I'm not a fan of boxing. I'm pretty sure boxing has a pay-per-view as well. So if you're a fan of all that, you got a pretty stacked month for pay-per-views. You got 3 pay-per-views from 3 major organizations. So just wanted to give my thoughts on some of these wrestling-related topics from WWE, TNA, and Ring of Honor. And obviously, as I said at the beginning, definitely check out some of those users that I plugged. Check them out, subscribe to them, and yeah, that's it. Peace.